What's up, y'all? It's your boy Darius the Great back again with another Darius the Great deep dive. And today we talking about hip hop, but it's a twist though. We got a certain section, a subgenre of hip hop that's been emerging and being popular over the past few years. It's been getting more and more popular. You know, you got trap, you got drill, you got Afrobeats, you got backpack, you got that type of form as a hip hop. But this is a new emerging subgenre of hip hop. And this subgenre of hip hop is called Fuck Jay-Z. Now y'all probably thinking like, what? I'm like, yo, the way Jay be getting hate and getting dissed, man, he should have his own subgenre in hip hop called FJZ. And you ever notice how hating Jay-Z is like his own subgenre in hip hop? Like no matter whatever we in, Jay always ends up the topic, man. From fans, media, other artists, somebody's always got something to say. For example, Big Get from Goody Mob. He stays on the Jay-Z hate tour, man, talking about how Andre 3000 is better than Jay just because he's humble when he never rapped about selling dope. Yo, that don't even sound like an opinion anymore. It just sounds something personal. And I'm like, yo, I don't know if it's because, back in the day, New York had a certain cockiness and arrogance about them. And, it was kind of a gatekeeping thing. Y'all remember the Source Awards when, Dre came up there and was like, yo, the South got something to say, which was monumental because it was kind of almost symbolic because the East Coast, West Coast war was going on at the time with Suge and taking shots at Puff and that nature. But I was looking at a clip on the internet, and Method Man even talked about that. He was like, he didn't like how New York was acting that night. They was acting real unruly and arrogant, and he was like, they was born outcasts, and that's what inspired Andre 3000 to say, yo, the South got something to say. So I'm like, yo, maybe Gibbs' disdain for Jay-Z in New York is based in that, you know what I mean? Because I don't know, I'm from the behind the scenes, it could be stuff I'm not privy to or know about, but it's just like, yo, the hate, man. Gip always got something negative to say about Jay-Z. Always, he blames him for the 360 deals. He blames him for this. He's not this and all that. So hopefully, that's not what it is. It's just my observation, what I see. So he's definitely in the, hate Jay-Z, FJZ subgenre of hip hop. Then you got will.i.am talking about Black Thought is 3 trillion times better than Jay-Z. Yo, 3 trillion times is crazy, man. And look, I get it, man. Music is subjective. You like who you like what you like. And to be honest, looking at a guy like will.i.am, people don't know. will.i.am is like a pop, type of hip-hop artist, Black Eyed Peas, but it wasn't always like that. Back in the day, Black Eyed Peas, before Fergie came, was like an alternative kind of Native Tongues, De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, Farside type hybrid type group. They was, his element is hip hop. I was even looking at a clip of The Alchemist talking about how him, Evidence from Dilated Peoples, and all these other guys in the LA area used to have freestyle competitions, and will.i.am always used to win the freestyle competition. So it's not about dissing him or saying his perspective ain't, worthy, but when he said Black Thought is 10 times, 1,000 trillion times better, I assume he said that because he probably can't relate to Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Because they from two different worlds. And don't get it twisted. I heard will.i.am is from Compton, which, everybody know the reputation Compton hold. But it's a difference being in the hood, growing up in the hood, and being of the hood or doing hood activities. And there's no knock on him. Black people are not a monolith. Just because you been in the hood don't mean you have to do illegal things to be masculine. But a person like me who grew up in the hood and, did my little dirt, trapping in the streets, drug dealing, I can understand what Jay-Z's saying, so it's relative to me. So what he says is more relevant to me than Black Thought, and it wasn't always like that because I was a big Roots fan. Philadelphia Half-Life in 96 when it came out, man, what? Like, I loved that. Love that album. And I was listening to The Reasonable Doubt, too. But at 14, I loved Philadelphia Half-Life because I was in that boom bap era type thing. I was a Tribe fan, everything. But when I got into the streets, Reasonable Doubt made so much more sense to me. Songs like Regrets, songs like Can I Live, songs like Dead Presidents. I mean, you feel those emotions that he brings when it comes to the street game. He not just bragging about selling drugs. He's talking about the emotions that come with it, the everything that come with it. So it's like when people try to simplify Jay like he's just surface level rapper, it's kind of like weird because I'm like, yo, that's not That's not true. And like I said, music is subjective. But shout out to my man B-Dot too. B-Dot said, yo, some of these niggas need their amendments revoked because, crazy statements like that is wild. And don't get it twisted. Black Thought is elite. That Funk Master Flex freestyle is iconic. But are we really saying that one moment outweighs a whole career, consistent, layered, diverse greatness? You feel what I'm saying? Jay has songs like Meet the Parents, This Can't Be Life, Rap Game, Crack Game, Where I'm From. He's got records that are personal, political, poetic, but because he wears a Rolex by saying it, y'all assume that he ain't deep. Like he said, do y'all listen to music or do y'all just skim through it? See, that's the real issue, is the optics. Y'all think if a rapper wears a kufi, has a chew stick in his mouth, and burns sage, he must be more diverse or enlightened. But real talk, I had someone tell me the other day that their musical taste and range was more diverse than mine. And they haven't even seen my Apple playlist or none of my songs in my playlist. And the thing about that's crazy is their musical taste is actually limited because they don't like pop music. They don't like the flashy rap. They don't like that. He hates Drake. The guy I'm talking about hates Drake. And no matter what you say, Drake is a GOAT. You know what I'm saying? He said Drake is soft, housey, this and that. He's letting his personal feelings and taste dictate the facts. You get what I'm saying? Because Drake got songs where he's spitting. He got introspective songs. And people don't understand that. Like, they look at music from a personal place. And that's their right. But I'm looking at music. This is the music business. It's a difference between music artistry and music business. And we got to admit that Drake balances the two well. So when you think about it, I'm actually probably more diverse than him and his pilot because his is limited. He's not going to go. It's like music. He's like a musical snob. And there's a lot of people like that. You know what I mean? I was talking to my man, shout out my man Chris Wright. Chris Wright from the Directors, producer, Mumble Sauce. And he's a dope producer, man. He dope. He produced every day and everything. He even said it. He was like, yo, at one time I was kind of like that type of guy, like that pretentious, oh, this ain't real music if they ain't doing this. He was like, I didn't understand the greatness in Puff. I didn't understand the greatness in Irv Gotti. But now he understands. Being able to translate and make these pop records and hit records, people look at it like, oh, all they doing is just looping a sample. But it takes a special talent to do that. You don't have to be on an MPC. You don't have to get on an ASR 10 to chop up samples and do all these intricate things to have a hit record. It takes a visionary. Puff, he doesn't know how to make beats, but he knows how to flesh things out. He knows how to look at it, say, hey, yo, take this. Nah, take that out. If it wasn't for Puff, would we really have the big that we have? These people are visionaries. So it's a difference between that and post-production and all these other things. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And so the Black Thought Jay-Z debate, do we hear Black Thought in different lanes? Do he have a Give It To Me song? Does he have a song cry? A Dead Presidents? A Sisters and Bitches? Jay gave us club anthems, soul samples, mafioso bars, grown man confessions, and business blueprints. Thought, he's a fire MC, but mostly he has one lane. We only hear him in one way and one tone. And don't forget, the Roots was dissing the J-type artists in 96 with what they do. So the judgmental energy has always been there. It's nothing new, man. It's always been like a divide. So fast forward to the FJZ subgenre of hip-hop. Nicki Minaj got issues with Jay-Z. I'm talking about, she's saying he owes her $200 million. If that's true, cool, take it to court. But why tweet through it? Why bash him online? That don't make you look strong or any better. It makes you look actually crazy. You know what I mean? And then some of the things she was saying, blaming him for everything, for the NFL, messing up the NFL, blame him for messing up, I don't know, sports. He messed up music. He messed up streaming, just everything, right? And I'm just like, yo. And the crazy thing about it, Jay never says nothing, man. So it's crazy. You hear about these things. People say Jay's an Illuminati. Jay's this. Jay's, he sold people out. I even hear, yo, shout out to my man Bullets Gotti, man. Bullets Gotti be going in on Jay, man. He be like, yo, I be telling Gotti, bro, Gotti's my man. That's my homie. Been my homie for a long time. Shout out to New York. Y'all know how I feel about New York. That's my second home. Me and Gotti got something coming up soon. But Gotti be going in on Jay, and I be like, Gotti, you gotta chill, bro. And you know what I'm saying? It's like he's always the blame for the woes of society and hip-hop, bro. It's crazy. But people barely mention what Jay has done for others, though. He helped Lil Wayne. He helped Meek Mill through his legal issues. He got De La Soul their masters. He helped 21 Savage through his deportation issues. Helped Scarface through financial issues. The Clips, yo, we got this Clips album because of Jay-Z and Roc Nation. You know, they bought the album from Def Jam, they bought themselves out the contract, and they went to Roc Nation. Roc Nation distributed. So we got this incredible rollout, this incredible album, thanks to Jay-Z. Hit Boy, somebody else who just said, yo, Jay helped him get our deal that he was in since he was 18. Hit Boy got at least be in his mid-30s now. He really tried to use his power to open doors. And like he said on Izzo, H to the Izzo, I'm overcharging niggas for what they did for the Cold Crush. You know what I'm saying? So, moving on, another participant in the FJZ subgenre of hip-hop, Dame Dash. Now look, I used to look up to Dame heavy, and I still respect him. But man, this guy seems so bitter, man. You know, it's like it never stops. He just always comes at Jay in a way that's just like, dog, like, it can't be all that bad. And like I said, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. I'm not saying Jay innocent. I'm not saying he hasn't made mistakes. But Jay has probably did some things that was unsavory to Dame. And Dame has done some things unsavory. But it's almost like people just vilify Jay. And a lot of times people victimize or try to make Dame like he's the fallen hero because they feel like Dame kept it real. He didn't work for the man. You know, Jay is with the man and everything. I'm like, yo, business don't work like that, man. You got to work with people within your circles and things of that nature. It doesn't matter race, man. It doesn't matter, you know, black, brown, white, whatever. It's about getting things done, and it's about taking care of business. You know, Jay take the blame. Even Jay in the song said, you know, I took the Rockefeller name. I take the blame for that on Diamonds Forever remix. But Jay offered him and Biggs full control of Rockefeller for Reasonable Doubt Masters, and they said no. Also, Dame cashed out on $30 million from Rockaway. Then he got his own label after that. You know, after the split, which is the Dame Dash Music Group, which was a subsidiary of Def Jam. But Dame says that Jay tried to drop the value on Rockaway before he sold it, which I don't know. Maybe he did. But the thing is, you still got $30 million. You got a check from Def Jam. You got bought out by Def Jam, and then you had your own label. You know what I'm saying? But meanwhile, look at this. Jay-Z Day Ones are still around. You're talking about Jay Brown, Emery, Tata, Bleak, Lenny S, and even Biggs. They still with him. Dame ain't even speaking to Biggs now. So what does that say? Like I said, this ain't here to judge. It's just, you know, observation, introspection. You know, Jay knows he ain't perfect. That's why the 444 song starts with Kill Jay-Z. He confronts his own flaws before y'all even get a chance to. Like he said on I'm So Appalled, you either die hero or living long enough to see yourself become the villain. You know what I mean? Jay became the villain not by doing wrong, but by surviving and by winning. And through all the noise, he barely says a word back. That's powerful. You know what I mean? He don't never say nothing. It's power in that. So maybe one day the culture will give him the flowers he actually deserves. You know what I'm saying? What more can I say? Your boy Darius the Great, man. Follow me on Instagram, DVRIUSTHGREAT. That's DVRIUSTHGREAT. I got a lot of stuff coming up. Follow me on the gram. Peace and blessings, man.